Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another quick pick prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the light heavyweight bout between former light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz versus former middleweight champion Alex Pereira, and also a former two-division champion in Glory Kickboxing. So, and how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence Alex Pereira to beat Jan Blachowicz in a minor upset. I don't know what odds going to shift. It might shift to him being a favorite, but is it right now? I think like plus 100 Pereira is, and I'm picking him to beat Jan Blachowicz. So I know an interesting stat is like, oh, Blachowicz is like 3-0 against former world champions that were former middleweights. Like he beat Jacare Souza, he beat Adesanya, he beat Luke Rocco, but two of those three people are their biggest strengths typically is their grappling, and Luke Rocco is notably chinny, so he was able to stuff the takedown of Jacare and outstrike him to a close decision. At that time, he was able to, I guess, give up like a close round to Rocco, then knock him out in the second. Well, he actually didn't give up a round because he dropped him at the end of that round, so he still went around. He dropped him, finished him in the second round. So yeah, he was able to knock out Luke Rocco, and then he was able to beat maybe a bit of undersized Adesanya, who was over or underestimating what's his name. But as much as those fights factor those fights out, I feel factors most in this one is the Thiago Santos fight. Santos is not no former middleweight champion, but a former middleweight that came up and knocked him. So he's not completely undefeated against middleweights. He might be 3-1. I mean, he is 3-1, or maybe I don't know the full record, but at least to my knowledge, he's 3-1 because that one is Thiago Santos. And Thiago Santos has parallels, not complete parallels. Obviously, there's big differences between the two, but it's a fighter, and Santos is supposed to have is he supposed to be a BJJ black belt? Don't quote me on that. He's supposed to have better BJJ skills, but he has had questionable wrestling defense, has had questionable grappling defense at times in his career. And you can kind of equate that to Pereira. Like Pereira, he's a striker. He is no, it's in bust about it. He's not no black belt. He's not no grappler. He's working on those skills, but he's not a grappler. And that's the area where Blachowicz can look to exploit. That's the area he should have been able to exploit against Santos, but he wasn't, or he didn't have success in that area. So again, it's kind of a guy who has a grappling weakness similar to Santos, and big power and explosion, and good timing and good hooks and whatnot. But an even legendary hook and even bigger size. And matter of fact, he coming up, but he probably be the bigger man in the cage. And so it's not gonna be the same parallel. Like he had like 30 pounds on Adesanya. He might be giving a weight to Pereira, who gets bigger every single time you turn your back. Like the man get bigger every single time you look at him, in height and weight and power. Like he's like a villain, some superhero, super villain. But yeah, I think Blachowicz is going to look to try to grapple in this one, look to mix it in, try to have a kick battle as well, and I think he'll have some decent success. But ultimately, I think where I kind of see the fight ending, I see the Zach parallel to the Thiago Santos fight. Not a Zach parallel, but a similar finish. I feel like a lot of times when Blachowicz fights, he fights very awkward. He's very open to counters, and I think Adesanya was able to catch him with a couple counters. But Adesanya is not necessarily a heavy hitter, whereas Pereira does have that death touch and that legendary hook. So I feel like, what happened with the Pereira fighting, not Pereira, but the Santos fight, I think Santos was just faster, quicker, beating Blachowicz in exchanges. And Blachowicz, I think at the end of the round, I guess he felt like, let me try to take this round back. And he started, coming blitzing, throwing his punches, not minding his defense. And I feel like that's a strength and weakness of Blachowicz. Like, he punches to the opening. He don't punch fundamentally. He punches to find open. Like, so he'll throw a hook. He'll push a punch in there. He'll try to fit punches in there, but he'll leave himself open on the defense. So going with a technical boxer or a technical striker like Pereira, you doing the same thing. Pereira will see these openings, will be able to catch you with a big hook and be able to put your lights out. So either way, it'd be like they're standing in the pocket and Blachowicz trying to punch through, find these openings on Pereira and trying to find those openings and just keep punching, but leaving his chin up and just kind of square his body up with his punches. Pereira will be able to find a hook and put his lights out. Or whether he feels like, oh, let me try to blitz, let me try to work him to the cage, and similar to how he was trying to do against Thiago Santos, try to blitz him to the cage, come in there swinging, square himself up, drawing his punch like he got hammers in the hand, like swinging a punch like that, and then don't punch like that, and then get caught. Pereira take a little backside step, catch him with a hook, drop him, and then follow with some ground and pound and put him out. And that's kind of what I see. And also, I think he'll be able to win the kicking battle against Blachowicz. But Most importantly, I think he'll be able to catch him with that hook when Blachowicz is overcommitting, and it's not guesstimation. That's Blachowicz's strength and weakness. That's his style. Like, you have strengths and weakness with every style, and that's a very big weakness in that style. And I think he will ultimately get caught by the best hooker in the history of MMA and probably the history of kickboxing. Probably not boxing, probably, but definitely as far as MMA and kickboxing, probably the best hook in the history of those sports or those disciplines. So I think he'll be able to catch him, probably tag him some shots, probably to frustrate him a bit, maybe feel like he need to come back in the fight and start to get a little bit more aggressive. When he starts to open up more, that hook will be there, and I think Pereira will be able to catch him with it, put the lights out, and I'm going to say a second round TKO for Alex Pereira. So in this one, I have Alex Pereira via second round TKO.